Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Raquel Las Vegas. It's me, Raquel. Happy Valentine's Day! So, obviously, you saw the post as far as the title of this video, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Being open to love, especially, emphasis on the word especially when you've been hurt. And instead of my normal talking about other people's situations, because several people have reached out to me knowing that I was going to make something like that of a post as far as today goes. I'm going to talk about my own personal experience with it and then give my thoughts, because that's what I do here. So, jumping right in, being open to love is a very scary thing for a lot of people, and when you've been hurt, automatically you either, a lot of times people will just like totally turn off the idea of even wanting another relationship or wanting to go through trying to find another relationship, all those different things. And I've touched on, things like that as far as like different experiences you have that kind of like turn you off from wanting to be with another person after you've been something like really traumatic. Traumatic is obviously to each his own as far as what you consider to be a traumatic experience. Somebody could consider, stubbing their toe to be traumatic, so don't judge, okay? But anyway, in my particular case, I'm going to talk about how I met my husband. So, I did my Purge to 2020 video talking about the really toxic relationship that I had prior to meeting my husband. And I went over it very vaguely for a reason. Not saying that I have a problem with it, but it's one of those, like, you don't necessarily want to relive those kind of moments, especially when it really has absolutely no effect on the person that you are or have become or are still becoming. So, in my case, when I went through that super devastating and toxic breakup after having such a tumultuous relationship, I don't want to say that I was turned off from the idea of being with another person. It just, I wasn't putting myself in the position to find that, if that makes sense. Like, I've said before, you couldn't get me to leave the bed. You couldn't get me to leave my house, practically. So, I wasn't making myself available to come across it. And then, around the time that I was getting comfortable with the idea, I still can't say that I was actively looking. I was still I still had people that would ask me out and things like that, and I'm like, not so much. I just wasn't interested. I don't want to say so much that my guard was all the way up, because when I met Wes, I can't say that my guard was up at all. I mean, you have things in the back of your mind that you're always thinking about and always cautious about, but again, the type of person that I am, I wasn't going to base all of my experiences on such a bad one just because of the fact that it was so bad. And so around the time that I was rejoining the universe and the world and going out on a regular again, I like I said, I wasn't standoffish, but I just wasn't really interested. I would go on the dates, but I wouldn't really invest too much time in it. It'd be like me just going to have a cool conversation with somebody and leave, and that was kind of it. So, on Valentine's Day, of all days, my godbrother was like, you know what, I know that you've been going through a really rough time, because I had been out of that relationship for 6 or 7 months, and like I said, I wasn't doing anything. And so he was trying to make me feel better. He brought me roses and everything. I have an awesome circle of friends, y'all don't even know. But anyway, he brought me flowers and everything. He's like, I'm gonna take you out because I can't stand to see you sitting here like this. Plus, you seem like you're, not so, leave me alone. So we're gonna go out. So we did. And we went to a really cool bar that I actually ended up working at. I fell in love with it the day we walked in there. And night. It was Valentine's Day. Of course, it was super busy, and all the couples were everywhere. The owner came and talked to me, and made sure we were having a good time. It was a really great experience. And so I fell in love with the bar, and I was like, okay, when y'all need a bartender, y'all need to let me know. And they happened to hire me. So on that night, we were doing all of that, and I was like, well, in celebration of the fact that I also happened to get a job in the same night, let's just keep the party going, and we continued to be out. So we went downtown. If y'all don't know what downtown is, because obviously you don't live here in Vegas, I do. So if you've never been, locals tend to hang out more at Fremont Street. It's cooler, to be honest. Like, it's not all gimmicky like the Strip. It's not super expensive like the Strip. The culture is just completely different. Yeah, you still got your crazies out there because of the fact that it's downtown, but it's just a much better time, in my opinion. Like, you can go out in jeans and a t-shirt and still get into a pretty dope club and or bar without having to dress to the nines all the time. Not saying that I don't like that, just not my everyday style. Obviously, I'm in sweatshirts and leggings most days. But moving on. So we kept being out, and we went into a place called Beauty Bar, which I believe is no longer a thing. I haven't been out in a little while. But I think they changed the name of it. But long story short, like I said, it was downtown on Fremont. So, when you're out, you always see people you say hello, especially if you're in your own city and you have a circle of friends that are around the same age. You're going to see people that you know. So my brother, being the person that's really out more, and he's a DJ also. So he's friends with everybody. He's from New York. Like, that's just what it is. I mean, he's from Jersey, but DJing primarily in New York. You know what I mean? So of course he's saying hi to everybody. In walks in these two guys, one of which is Wesley. Now, rewind for a second. My brother and Wesley used to work together. My brother had it in his mind that he was going to set us up, and he kept trying to tell me about this guy, and I'm just like, okay, I don't care. Do I look like I care anything about what you're talking about? I'm not even trying to date anybody. Like, why do you keep talking to me about some dude? He's a dancer. Like, I don't care. And side little disclaimer, my brother works for an extreme diesel parts company, XDP, right? So in my head, totally stereotyped the guy before I met him. Not gonna lie. I was like, I'm thinking of this like big, huge Paul Bunyan dude getting out of like a massive truck with like a huge beard. That's what I imagined when he kept saying the name Wesley to me. Lo and behold, totally not what I thought. So, like I said, two guys come in, and my brother says hi to him, and I'm like, bro, who's that? He's like, that's Wesley. I was like, Wesley, like who you been telling me about, Wesley? He was like, yeah. I was like, oh, you need to go introduce me. He was like, no, go introduce yourself. I was like, no, you don't understand. You need to go introduce me right now. I can't even say like what I was attracted to, because I can't even say it was just his looks, because I wasn't really looking at that. I know that sounds weird. Like I can't explain what I was looking at. It doesn't make any sense. But point is, it wasn't strictly just like, oh, I think he's fine. It was just something about the way he was carrying himself. I don't know. But anyway, so I made my brother introduce me. So that's why I had to put that disclaimer. My brother had been trying to set us up, but when he walked in, and I don't know if that was planned or not. I don't know if my brother like texted him ahead of time to come out, or if he just coincidentally just happened to be out, because he was new to Vegas. And so again, if you're hanging out with locals, you're going to hang out downtown, and those were some of the hottest spots downtown. And so I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? I basically like pursued him before my brother had a chance to try and like put us in the situation. So I had a few drinks, okay? It's Vegas, all right? I was at a bar. I was going out. I was feeling good. And his friend was actually interested in me, but I literally I'm not even gonna lie, I was blowing everybody off trying to get Wes's attention. Not that I didn't have it already, but if you have ever met my husband, he is very quiet to himself, like he's not like out there and boisterous like that. Like he's a lot of fun when you know him, but he's just not that type of person. Like he's not that flamboyant, out there, have a good time person. Like he has fun in a very chill way. Which totally balances me out, in case y'all haven't noticed. But anyways, so throughout the whole night, we're all hanging out, have a good time, and literally exchange numbers, and not gonna lie to you, we've for sure been together ever since. But that's not the end of the story, because before Wesley met me, my brother was venting to him about all the crazy stuff that was going on in the relationship, because my brother lived with me, so he witnessed everything, and he would vent about it. And Wes and I had never seen an actual picture of each other, and so when it came down to actually meeting me, most of the first times that we hung out, I think we were hanging out just about every other day, if not every day, but all we were doing was talking. I'm talking like 3 and 4 hours of talking going by every time we're together. And that's really what solidified our relationship. But the things we were talking about were like what we were going through in our relationships at the time and all that kind of thing. And that was what was so surprising to him, that he didn't have to work so hard in breaking down all these walls, especially based on everything that I went through, because normally that's how people act after they've been through something like that. So I'm telling this story to put out there that you don't have to be hardened by a situation that has happened to you, regardless of how upsetting, devastating. Everybody deals with things differently, so it's not anybody's place to judge how they're dealing with it. Excuse me, sorry. It's getting better though, okay? Plus, I did the whole thing yesterday without coughing, so don't even say anything to me about that right now, okay? Don't come for me. But anyway, you don't have to be hardened by the situations that you've been through. It's okay to still be you and know what being you is enough to be open to receiving the love that you deserve. And that is how I ended up with the husband that I have now. So it's not about so much being open to everything. I mean, you have to know what you like and dislike, what are red flags to you, all of those different things. But it is very important to not add unnecessary pressure to the relationship based on what it is that you went through prior. So that is my rant of the day. That is what I chose to talk to you guys about today. And I hope it helped anybody that feels like they can't recover. You can. It's going to get better. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it will happen. So inspire daily, empower daily. Repeat that process once a day, every day. And I'll see y'all later.